Hey everyone, this is Mike, and I'm here with Isaac, and we're here to talk about some video games. More specifically, we're here to talk about Splitgate. Now, this is a game that is basically steeped in a little bit of controversy here and there regarding its relaunch of Splitgate Arena Reloaded, its sequel to the original Splitgate that was like many years ago. It was a popular little indie FPS game. It's basically a combination between Halo and Steam's Portal, well, Valve's Portal. I'm sorry. It was a fun little game, but it was like a very simple, very niche. It had like a very like modest player base. I believe like like 54,000. In fact, let me go check what the original Steam charge for the game was. I just want to check real quick. Cause the game original, cause yeah, cause I'm just really curious. Yeah, it was like 2019. It was like, again, it was a very popular. It was a little niche, but like a really simple game, and it got shut down for the sequel, which was steeped in so much controversy. And at the time of this recording, the game is not doing so hot. It's like basically has like an average player base of like around like like the low 200s to the like high 1000s, which is pretty bad considering this is a relaunch game with under a new publisher. They got a massive amount of investment money. I believe $1.5 billion in investment to churn out those kinds of numbers is very bad. Now the game is kind of in a very, very like grim state where a lot of people are basically saying this game is going to EOS very, very soon. So I want to get into it. But before we do, if you like what we do here, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Now, we have an article here by Game PC Games and Steam charts don't measure fun, says Splitgate dev as a relaunch. FPS debuts with a 90% lower peak. Like a big bug, like you said, it's a big budget sequel. Again, I keep mentioning, but one four like sorry, 1047 games basically decided that when they decided to launch Splitgate 2, they decided to remove everything that made the game special by adding like hero abilities. They decided to limit the use of the portals, and they added a very tacked on battle royale mode that really didn't land well with a lot of players. And yeah, because it was doing so poorly at that point. They decided, okay, let's take the game out of like launch and put it back into like quote unquote early access state to retool the game to basically be what the original Splitgate was like, because they decided, okay, this game is going to be so big. Let's shut down the original Splitgate on April 22nd and just have this game being the only way you can play Splitgate, which also didn't sit right with people. Because when you have a sequel, you should always very much keep the original game released. So yeah, that upset a lot of people. And with this relaunch, um, it still didn't like help the game's current state. It's really abysmal. So what they basically said on like social on Twitter, the who is the CEO of the game. I forget the name because I remember him being out on Summer Games Fest. That's what I believe. That's when they first revealed it was Summer Games Fest with that whole "Make FPS Great Again" like hat, and trying to cater to everyone's nostalgia, saying that they hate Call of Duty and I wish we had Titanfall 3 and all that stuff. Yeah, that was a huge controversy in of itself, but that I don't really want to get into that. Again, who's the name of like the depth of the head, the CEO? I'm trying to find it. I guess it doesn't mention it in this article, but yeah, the long short of it is that the game is very much in a very poor state, and I don't know how long this game is really gonna last at this point. So with all that said, I wanted to know what you think about this.
I think it's just another case of just your typical situation in the industry right now. It's just certain games. It's difficult, especially in the FPS market. It's a little difficult to kind of break into it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if it's not your typical Battlefields or your Call of Duties, um, you know, it, you're kind of like, you might have the finals and all these other little FPS games. But if you're not those two games, it's just kind of really tough to break into it
Mm-hmm.
at the moment.
I
You know,
mean, it's funny you
in a
mentioned.
groundswell on that, but it just typical business practices. It's just like it's a clear misstep in what gamers think they would want in a first person shooter game, and it just seems a lot of backtracking right now. It's just a whole blunt of missteps. And because when if you sat there and you mentioned the fact that it got so much funding, I think they had to
Mm-hmm.
try to justify. You want to try to do your best. You want to be able to please your shareholders or the people that back you. So the fact that they went the typical hero shooter
Mm-hmm.
in a game that in a world that's kind of flooded with that, been there, done that right now. And it's not that been there, done that. There's really right now two games that do the hero shooter thing well. That's Overwatch and that's Marvel Rivals. So trying to break, trying to use that game to break into that space was
Mm-hmm.
probably a bad decision move to begin with.
Yeah.
So it just seems like it's just been a plate of just mishaps, and like you said, it's starting to show in the numbers. And fan bases are like, yeah, we're not for it.
But and then you kind of throw like gasoline on the fire when you make such a public statement regarding Steam chart the like Steam charts and saying like Steam charts don't measure fun, like saying like it doesn't
No, it
matter the
doesn't
number.
measure fun. It just measures player based player count.
Yeah, it measures your attention and how popular a game is, and
Yeah.
if you don't have people playing, you're gonna have deal with long queue times. You're gonna have to deal with playing the same people over and over again, and it's just gonna signal to other people maybe I don't want to invest my time and my money into this game if so few people are playing it. So yeah, it doesn't measure fun, but it does measure how close you are to bankruptcy.
It doesn't measure bankruptcy. It just measures the lack of interest of the game. And again, I don't know what the marketing was for this game. Again, I think this was launched last year, and then they pulled back on it to relaunch it again this year with better funding. So I'm not really aware of what the marketing was for this game, other than like you said, the last time I've heard about was the CEO saying that, hey, we want to get back to being a better first person shooter game, and that whatever he said didn't take so well to the community. So, and that's another thing too. Like the community knows when you're trying to be fake or you're trying to pander to them, or you
Yeah.
never want to sit down and do that. Like, just let the game usually speak for himself. And from what people, again, I've never really heard Splitgate till now, even though this game's been around what 2000 back in the late early
Yeah, it
2000s.
was relaunch. It was launched December 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
a whole year, and then the relaunch of Splitgate 2 was last month, December 2025, as Arena Reloaded.
so you know again, you really don't need to do that. Like the product will always speak for itself. The IP will speak, will do its job, and fan bases will tend to follow that. So
I
again,
mean,
it's just another situation where it's just another game that's saturated in overpopulation of games at the moment. So that's it.
I think I think this one user on Twitter/X, Master Gecko, says it the best. He says the biggest problem with Splitgate 2 is that the devs took a decently fun idea, which is Halo with portals, that worked perfectly well for an indie game with a small but passionate community. They tried to force it to become the next $1 million AAA IP. It's understandable why Splitgate started as a student project that unexpectedly pulled around $600,000 100,000 downloads in its first month after a public demo. This kind of success that naturally fuels bigger ambitions. Why stay at small grassroots hits when you can get a slice of that sweet AAA pie? Now, the ambition for 1047 from a dorm room team to a venture-backed studio of roughly 200 developers with $1 million in funding. The original game that put them on the map was effectively abandoned in Splitgate 2. Followed the usual AAA trappings, hero abilities, battle passes, $80 microtransactions, and a battle royale mode. The community predictably rejected the new direction. The backlash forced 1047 to unlaunch the game and redesign core systems, but by then the damage was already done. What could have remained a long-lived cult classic instead became a cautionary tale about ambition and greed outpacing authenticity. Very much. It's just like
Perfectly said.
It's just
Perfectly
like
said.
Yeah, it sucks because like these guys were just guys just making games in their dorm, and just that's kind of how some of the most well-known games have ever been created. Like Doom, Doom was basically made by a bunch of guys in a garage, and it's basically the well-known game you see today.
Counter-Strike was a mod.
Counter-Strike was a mod, yep, as well.
Yeah, all these beautiful passion projects in the modding community, and people that were in, like you said, their dorms, in the garage, in their basements, that really have a passion for games. They make these fantastic cult classics. It's like that. And like you said, authenticity matters. Like, people that ride with cool ideals will tend to back you. And when you go out and alienate your fans, because like you just said, because you now wanted to scale, and there's nothing wrong with that, you're going to make some serious mistakes along the way. And again, I know we have usually this argument between game developers and business people, though. It's hard to be both hats.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to wear both hats in a game, in a situation. That's the reason why you have this and the other. And I understand that people tend to get very upset about the business and marketing side of things, and rightfully so. But there's a reason why those people exist, because they're trained to be able to position your product in the hands of the consumer in some form of way. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of that side, but I understand why you need it. That way, game developers could just be game developers and be creative and do what they need to do. There has to be a bit of a balance. Unless you're willing to learn both sides of it, there's a reason why you bring that side along with it as well.
Very much so. I mean, it's basically what happens when you fly too close to the sun with wax wings. Icarus, yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I couldn't think of the name, but that's basically what it is. Will this game EOS soon? Hopefully not, because I don't think this game deserves to just disappear, but it's kind of looking grim at the moment. So what do you think about the current state of Splitgate Arena Reloaded? Do you think this game is going to survive, or do you think it's going to EOS soon? Let us know. And if you like what we do here, once again, please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mike with Isaac, and we are saying peace.